Today we're going to write a pretty short script. It's going to be a basic window with an entry box, and it's going to run a function when you press enter. So it's going to activate the entry object on enter key press. So let's start off by opening up our text editor. I'm using Vim, and we'll just call this enter.py. We'll start it off like we do all our Python scripts, with our little pound exclamation point /USR /bin /env for environment, and our environment is Python. We'll import GTK because we're using GTK toolkit for our GUI interface, and we'll create a class and we'll call it base. Then we're going to start one function here. It will be our initiate function, like so. Don't forget your colon at the end there. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an object in here, and we'll call it win, and that will be our window. And that type of object is going to be a GTK.window. Next, we will connect that window to a quit mode. So when you click the X on the window, it will close the window out. So we're going to say our win object, we are going to connect it to, and we're going to connect it when it is destroyed. So destroy there. And we're going to say LAMBA W colon GTK dot main quit. And that will, once again, when the window is destroyed, when you click the X on our window, it will kill the application. Next, we'll create a vertical box container to put other objects into. We'll just call it box. And that object is going to be a GTK.vBox for vertical box, capital V, capital B. Remember, this is case sensitive. And then we're also going to create an object. We'll call it entry, and this will be our entry box, and the object will be a GTK entry. Once again, don't forget to capitalize the E in that. Now we're going to take our win box, so our win object, and we are going to place our vertical box, which is box, into it. So we have our window, which is a container, and it can only contain one object. And what we're going to put in there is the vertical box, which is another container, which can contain multiple objects. In this actual program, we're only going to be putting one object in there, so we don't necessarily need that vertical box. But if we decide to add other objects later, which in most cases you're going to add other labels and buttons or maybe other entry boxes, you want to have either a vertical or a horizontal box or a grid box that you can load other stuff into. So in this example, it's not 100% necessary, but it's a good habit to get into. So next, we're going to take our box, which is now loaded into our window, and we are going to pack start. So we're going to pack into that our entry object. Okay, so we have our window, and inside that window we have our vertical box. Inside that vertical box we have our entry box. The only thing left to do as far as loading things up is we need to make everything visible. Now we can make them each visible one at a time, or we can just say win.showAll, and that will make the window and everything inside the window visible at that point in the code. Next, we need to create a function that's going to happen when we activate our entry box. And we also need to connect that entry box to that function. So let's start by creating a function. So we'll define a function, deffunc, entry, and underscore go. I mean, that's just the name of the function. You can name it pretty much anything you want. I'm naming it entry go because it's going to go when the entry is activated. And then there are going to be some variables passed to this function. One is self, which is letting you know that it's being passed from within this function. or this class, I'm sorry, from within this class. And next would be the widget that's being activated. And we'll put a colon there. And all we're going to do is we're going to say print. So we're going to print to the terminal screen, you entered this. And then we'll go comma, and we're going to add what is inside the entry box. So we're going to say, in this case, widget dot get text colon. So whatever widget is activating this function, so we send the widget here, so whatever widget it is, so if you have more than one entry box, they can all use this same function. We're going to grab that text and print it to the screen. Next, we're going to start a main function here. And that main function is going to be a GTK main. Okay. The only thing else we have to do in this class is right here. We are going to have to connect the entry box to this function. So we're going to say entry, so that's our entry object that we created up here. And we're going to say dot connect, so we're connecting it to a function. When is it going to run the function? When it is activated, or activate. So when it activates, so basically in the case of an entry box is when enter is hit. So if you're typing something in that entry box, when you hit enter, what's it going to do? It's going to run this function, self entry go. And that's this function right down here. The self portion of it is because they are inside the same class, which is base, and then that function. And then we are almost done. 3 lines left. We're going to say if name equals main. What are we going to do? We're going to run base equals base and base dot main right there. So basically this is basically going to initiate the class up here. Our class is base, and it's going to initiate that, and it's going to start the main, which is going to start the GTK, and of course initiate is going to start through all this. So let's save this, make it executable with change mod plus X for executable, the name of our script. Now if I just do /entry, oh sorry, enter. Okay, I typed something wrong here. Let's go back into the code. It's going to be on that destroy line somewhere, so vim, what did I type wrong here? I typed something wrong. Oh, I need a D right here. A little typo on my behalf. LAMBDA. Now, let's run it. And another typo on my behalf. I apologize. There should be 2 underscores there. Oop. I'm having trouble typing today. I apologize. So I ran that, and here is our simple little window. There isn't much to it. It's just an entry box. We can resize it if we want. And we got our entry box here. So I can start typing www.filmsbychris.com. I told you I can't type today. And nothing's going on, but when I hit enter, it says in the terminal, you entered this. And it gives whatever I typed. I can type blah, 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 hit enter. I can do some spaces. But every time I hit enter, it will print that message out to the command line. Let's close the window. Let's go back into our text editor and just go over the code again since we have time. We're saying this is a Python script. We're importing the GTK module for GUI interfaces. We're creating a class. We're calling it base. You can call it something else if you'd like. We're defining a function here, the initiate function, And we're creating a window. We're saying when that window is destroyed to quit the program. We're creating a box object. It's a vertical box. And we're creating an entry box, or an entry object, which is GTK entry. We're going to take the box object that we created, and we're going to put it inside the window. And then we're going to take our entry object and put that inside the box object. Then we're going to show all of it, make it visible. And then we're going to take our entry box and connect it to this function when it's active, which means enter in this case. And that function is this function that we created down here, which is grabbing the class and the widget. And we're going to print a message out to the screen, which is part of it is the text from the widget being sent. Starting up GTK main and basically just starting up our class there. Let's add something since I think we have a little bit of time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another entry box right here. I'll call it entry 2. It also will be a gtk.entry. And right here we will box pack start entry 2. And then down here we will say entry 2 dot connect activate. I'm having a real hard time typing today. Self dot entry go. So basically we added another entry box. We added into our vertical box, so it should be below the first box. And we connected it to the same function here, so it should do the same thing. We'll run it again, and as you can see, we have 2 entry boxes in our window now. I can type blah 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 and hit enter, and it prints a message down here. If I come down here, I can type something and hit enter, and it does the same thing for that. And it doesn't send, since we are using in our function here, we're grabbing which widget is sending, is connected to this function. It knows which one to grab the text from. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. I hope you continue watching all my GTK tutorials, my Qt tutorials, my Pygame tutorials, my Bash tutorials, my Blender tutorials. We got a lot going on. Go ahead and visit filmsbychris.com. The link is in the description. And remember, this is an open source channel, so I'll be glad to help you with any of your open source questions. And also visit our forum at filmsbychris.com/forum. We also have an IRC channel. It's on Freenode. The channel is Films by Chris. If you don't have an IRC client, you can always visit filmsbychris.com/IRC for our web-based client. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great